Hello everyone, I'm Amaya and welcome back to my channel. This is episode 3 of The Amaya Show. Stay tuned, this is going to be a good one. First of all, I want to say I'm dressed very formally today for no particular reason. This is just what I felt like putting on. Also, if you are watching this episode, you can see that I have my microphone back. I haven't had this in almost a year. I thought it stopped working. Maybe it just needed a little bit of a break from me because now all of a sudden it works perfectly fine. So hopefully the audio quality for this episode is going to be stellar. Now into the actual episode. Oh, also, I guess since I'm doing announcements, thank you guys for all of your support on my last video. It was What's Wrong with Cat's Eye. I think it's my second best performing out of my last 10 videos, so it seems like you guys really liked that one. I figured you would, because it was a really relevant topic. And if you have any other video suggestions, you can leave those in the comment section down below. Okay, now into the actual topic of today's video. We are going to start with LE SSERAFIM's song Celebration. There has been a lot of conversation around this song, of course, just because it is from LE SSERAFIM and they're a group that people really like to talk about, but also because HYBE has a couple of groups going with this techno, EDM, hyperpop kind of sound right now. So I'm going to say what I think about that. As far as the song's sound, I think it showed a lot of potential. The way that the song actually turned out was pretty disappointing for me personally. I've liked a lot of LE SSERAFIM's higher energy songs, like Crazy, Eve Psyche and the Bluebeard's Wife. I thought this is where we were going with Celebration, but what we actually got was a little bit more, how do you say, I don't know. And this is the same way I feel about Pinky Up. It just felt like we had so much hype, so much build up, and then it didn't lead anywhere. They really put their all into the dance. You know, the members themselves did a good job. I think it's more in the production of what I'm not really liking. But at least this isn't the title track for their album. So when that song comes out, I think I'll be more excited for that. But LE SSERAFIM's releases are pretty hit or miss for me. I didn't like Hot. Like I said, I liked Crazy. I liked Easy. What was the last one? Spaghetti. I liked that one, surprisingly. So I'll just have to see if I'm into what they're putting out right now. Yeah. Like the song, the music video was really fun as well, with them chasing that monster and whatever. I really like their direction with their videos. I just think their songs are kind of up and down for me. So I didn't think I was going to like Celebration based off of the teaser and the little snippet of the song that we got. And I actually found myself getting kind of bored listening to it, as I said, because it didn't lead anywhere. But I hope that their next song is going to give off a different energy. Also, in terms of other HYBE groups going for the same sound right now, I don't think anything of that. I don't think they had some meeting and they were like, this is what music genre we're going to push for everyone. I think it's just what they thought would perform well for these individual groups. Also because I-dle is going to be putting out a song that kind of sounds like that based off of the snippets that we've gotten. Yeah, I don't think anything of it. Because if we want to go that far back, 17, when they released Thunder, it was kind of similar to the sound that these groups are putting it out now. I don't think there's any kind of conspiracy behind that. For our next talking point, I kind of went through that one pretty quickly. I-dle canceled their North American tour. Meanwhile, aespa just announced a US tour. And this is a topic that I have done a full-length video on before. I'll link it in the description box for you guys. But touring is kind of a big issue, at least in the US, with K-pop groups right now. Because on one hand, we have groups that are here all the time, and people don't want to see them because they know they always have the opportunity to. And then we also have groups like I-dle who do not come here often, but they still aren't selling well. So what's going on with that? Someone else said this, and I agree with it. that since American, or even just outside of Korea, most K-pop fans are not fans of just one group, it's going to be very difficult to find people who are going to pay to see your group every time they come. So unless you're BTS, Twice, or Blackpink, it isn't, well, Stray Kids, they would probably, unless you are one of the top selling groups, you can't really guarantee that that audience is always going to be there when you go on tour. When it comes to I-dle, I was originally surprised that their tour didn't sell well, but at the same time, we have to consider the factors. They are a bit of an older group. They don't really promote to the US audience much. I know their last song, Mono, was in English, and they have an English album that they released, but it doesn't sound like their typical stuff, so I'm not sure if their fans were too into that. But you can't find their albums in the regular stores over here where they sell it. I don't see a lot of pop-up events over here when I-dle has a comeback. So I know that people listen to their music, but I don't know if they really have been doing the work to foster a fan base over here. Additionally, like people said before, Twice went on tour over here this year. BTS is going on tour this year. So other big hitter groups are kind of not distracting from, but if people are spending money to go see those big groups, they might not also want to spend money to see your group. And I think that's just going to be an issue for groups that don't try super hard to have a fan base overseas. For aespa, I know they went on tour maybe 2 years ago at this point. I don't think they'll have a problem selling tickets at all. They are one of the biggest groups right now, so I think they'll do just fine. Ooh, I'm kind of speed running through topics in today's video. I'm only 7 minutes in, and I've gotten through 2 of my talking points. So I think this is a good time to pause and talk about some of my top songs since I made the last episode. Originally, I was going to go with my top songs of the week, but I figured that I didn't want to keep doing that because I'm not going to have songs that I like that come out every single week. So it's easier to just talk about songs that I've liked since the last podcast episode came out. The first one that I have up here is What's a Girl to Do by Dayoung. This song was basically, if you expected a song from Dayoung, it would be something that sounds like this. And for some people, they would call that boring. For me, it is predictable, but I liked the last one. I'm going to like this one too. So What's a Girl to Do is really fun and upbeat. Some would say she's reheating Tinashe's nachos. I would say if the nachos are still edible, I'm going to eat them. It has a cute little dance to it. She's been going on some podcasts and different interviews to talk about the music and how she felt about making it. So I would watch some of that if you're more interested. But I really like watching her performance stages because she seems to be having a lot of fun with this song. The next song that I have is Nail by Eve. I think this song came out maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now, so it's been a while since I did a podcast episode. But again, really like this one. Eve really blew me away with her last title track, White Cat. So I wasn't thinking that I would like the next song that she puts out a lot, because I would always be comparing it to what we've had before. But this was actually really good. I do like White Cat more, but that's a high bar to reach. So I'm glad that this song even comes close. Nice song. And for the last one, this is actually an old song that I rediscovered. I had some of my music playing on shuffle, and this song came on, and I was like, wait, that's fire! So I had to put it back in the playlist. This is I Like You by I-dle. Again, I-dle is coming out with a new album soon, and it's going to sound really different from what we are used to from them. I am looking forward to it. I'm definitely curious. I've got my magnifying glass in my hand, but this is about a 2-year-old song. This is from their debut album, and I didn't like it at the time, but I like it now. It's really, like I said, it's fun and upbeat, and yeah, I'll have to see if they have any performances of this song because I haven't looked for them, but I really liked it. Okay, so next we have some smaller topics. I didn't want everything to be a big topic. So for the next one, we have that NMIXX and aespa are releasing new albums soon. I think I've only talked about girl groups so far in this video, but NMIXX is one of my old groups. As you guys know, if you watched the previous podcast episode, I saw them a couple of weeks ago, and their performance was amazing. Based off of what we've heard so far from the album, which honestly is not a lot, I'm talking a little fast. Based off of the little bit that we've heard from their next album, it sounds good so far. I like the visuals. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm not expecting it to come close to Blue Valentine. That was like a once in a blue moon type of song. But I always expect great things from NMIXX, so I'm really looking forward to this comeback. With aespa, I am really curious about what they're going to bring to the table. I do have a video about aespa. I'll link it in the description box. It's actually one of my best performing videos, but in that one, I talked about how they kind of changed direction when they released Rich Man and Dirty Work. And since that's been their last two releases, I am curious about what they're going to do now, if they're going to dive deeper into that style. This is also going to be their last album before they go on tour, I believe. So this is going to set the tone for that if you're interested in seeing them on tour. So I think this is a very important album cycle for them. It's not like if this is a bad album, people are going to stop listening to aespa. You know what I mean? They are a huge group and they have a lot of good music. But in terms of what kind of music they're going to be going with in the future, and if they're going to double down on this style right now or listen to some of the criticism and maybe go back to their futuristic style, even visually, are they going to go back to what we know, the robot AI type of concept? Most likely not. But all of that is what I'm curious to see from them. And for the next topic, I have that Waterbomb's lineup was announced. I know overseas they did do some Waterbombs in different countries maybe a year or two ago. Oh, the lineup for KCON was also announced. For Waterbomb, we have some familiar faces performing. I know some of Monsta X is going to be there. So, Dayoung's going to be there. BB's going to be there. I only remember the people that I was interested in seeing, so I guess I don't remember everyone else. But, yeah, seems pretty fun. I do hope that they expand in the future and bring Waterbomb to other countries. I'm not sure if they canceled some of the foreign events before because of low interest, but I would be interested. So, Waterbomb CEO, if you ever want to bring it back, bring it to the East Coast and maybe I'll be there. And for KCON, I did see people talking about how their lineup is maybe 14 or 15 boy groups and 5 girl groups. I did think that was interesting. I remember before, were there more girl groups? I'm not sure. I think they're just catering more to the boy group audience. I also have a video on I also have a video on K-pop. Let me try again. I also have a video about K-pop conventions. I'll link that one in the description. I have a lot to remember, so I hope I remember them all. But the conventions are very expensive to have. Mnet said that they were not making a lot of money off of running this convention, actually. So perhaps they are trying to appeal to people who will spend the most money. I don't have the figures on if boy group fans tend to spend more money than girl group fans, but yeah. I would, just because I'm going to be watching the video from home, I would prefer maybe if it was a more even lineup, but what can you do? I'm also not going because I would have to fly out. And now back to some bigger topics. I want to talk about how the Big Four is planning on creating a K-pop music festival. They called it Korea's Coachella, and there's been a lot of talk around this. I believe they were trying to call it Phenomenon. So the Big Four is JYP, HYBE, YG, what's the other one? SM. And they are trying to come together to have a K-pop music festival. It would start in Korea in late 2027 and then go international in 2028. Some people are nervous about this idea, with it kind of blocking smaller groups from participating. From what I saw, each company is supposed to invest an even amount of money into it, which is why I believe they did not invite smaller labels, because they're not going to be able to put up that money. And JYP, uh, he's like the Korean pop culture ambassador or something, so that's why he's trying to organize this thing. We don't know if this is really going to happen. Late 2027, I believe, is pretty soon, actually, to plan a convention, and then 2028 to go international. So I'm interested to see some updates on this through the months. By the end of the year, I feel like for sure we would have updates. Now, just for speculation, just for fun, I wonder how many groups from each label they would want to perform. Like, let's say, are you going to bring all your heavy hitters to the festival? Like, I wouldn't expect to see Twice, BTS, EXO, uh, who's a big group? I can't think. I wouldn't expect to see every major group from these labels perform, because then the ticket price would just be insane. That's why I think the idea of rivaling Coachella is kind of like, you know what I mean? Would you want to compare to Coachella? Because Coachella takes a lot of planning. It's a huge event. Do you want people to, you know what I mean? And then Coachella also doesn't travel. It's just in that one area. So the idea is, if you want to see all of these people, you're going to bring you to us. You bring yourself to this event and you do all of that. If the event travels, unless you only have one stop in every continent or every few countries or something, then I guess. But it sounds a lot more complicated to plan when you're going to travel. Because think of this. That's like SM Town, right? They're all under one label. So you can say, we're not going to have any events on these days every couple months. When it comes to coordinating with 4 different companies, I feel like it's a little bit more complicated to have a traveling festival. Or they would just have the lineup change. But, if they kept it in Korea, I guess it just wouldn't reach as big of an audience. But what's another music festival? Coachella, Glastonbury. I don't know of many music festivals that travel. Most of the events that travel, I believe, would be conventions. So I'm definitely curious on this model. Like, would you still incorporate some of the fan service aspects of K-pop into the festival? Are we going to do high touch after the after the Coachella like festival, or is it just a performance and then you go home? I think the camping out would be crazy. I think the planning that's involved to do an international festival would be insane. I think we would be getting, I don't know. I'm trying to picture it, because then let's say I'm in, well, cuz now I'm thinking how this would impact tours as well. Because let's say aespa performs at this festival that travels. Why should I pay then later in the year to see them at their concert? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, people perform at festivals and then do concerts later in the year all the time. So, I guess I'm really actually excited about this. I want to see what their plans are. I don't even know if they're in the step of planning things out. I want to know, where would they have this festival? What type of, definitely not a venue. It would probably be outside. And then if it's outside, what time of year would you have it? Like at Coachella, I know we just had a dust storm or something, and that's why someone couldn't perform for their set for the first weekend. You know what I mean? So if it rains, like, you're done for. So what type of environments would you try to have this festival in? That's my question. That's my question. Now, we do have events like Music Bank, where every couple of years they are in a different country. I've always loved the idea of that. It's really cool just to have several groups perform for international audiences, especially in countries where they typically don't get K-pop tours very often. I know they did it in Chile, they did it in Mexico. This next one is in Barcelona, I'm pretty sure. They did one in France, so it's pretty cool that they do the traveling music bank. So I imagine it would probably be something like that. And then how much money would these tickets be? That's what I would want to know. Who gets to decide who the headliner is? Does every company get one headliner? What's the budget? Yeah. So as things develop, if this ends up happening, I'll give you guys updates because I'm very interested in this idea. I should probably stop shaking my mic. Okay. Next, we have Lucas left SM. Ten also left SM. He is still staying under Wavy and participating in NCT. We're going to see how that goes because we have not seen Win-Win since he left for acting. So hopefully 10 is still going to be performing. Back to the bullet point that I had. Lucas left SM, and therefore, everyone who gets kicked out of a group cannot sustain a solo career. This may be I don't think this should be an unpopular opinion. I think this is just right or wrong. A lot of people who are in groups, it's because they do well in a group. If everyone could be a soloist, it would probably be cheaper to just have them be a soloist. Although in the K-pop system, soloists don't perform as well. A lot of people need to be in a group. Lucas was not set up to be a soloist. From what I understand of his backstory, he didn't even want to be a singer. Then he became a performer. He was in a group, and then the scandal happened, and then he became a soloist. Dropped one album. Album was, I mean, I won't say it's mid. It was a little. It was kind of bad. Actually, it wasn't mid. It was worse. They had him speaking in English. I don't know who that was for. Yeah. And he didn't even get a lot of variety content or anything. I don't know if SM does this because they believe in their artists or if it's like a liability issue or they just want to milk some more money out of these people. Why do you kick someone out of a group and then make them a soloist? It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. With Seunghan, they kicked him out of Rise. The fans were doing a lot. I understand that. And now he is in a trio with two backup dancers. That's cool. You know, I just always feel that the quality of music these people get is not the same as what their groups get. And maybe that's where my issue is. It's just not on par with what another SM group or an SM soloist that they invested a little bit more in would get. So to me, it's always like, why not just cut them loose and let them go? But SM is not known for letting people out of their contract. So everything that we're seeing now is new. This is a new leaf they've turned over. SM is not used to letting people go. So I guess little improvements where we can get them. Yes, everyone who gets kicked out of a group cannot go solo. I mean, they can. Physically, they can. It's just that they may not be set up to go solo. And while we're speaking of solos, I'm just thinking, last year I made a video on. I've plugged a lot of videos today. You don't actually have to watch the videos to understand what I'm talking about. I made a video talking about my top 10 songs of 2025, and I didn't put Stunner by 10 on there. That song, it just comes back to you in a flashback. It's just something that you feel emotionally. You feel it in your bones. You're going through your day and you know, you might just be walking outside. You hear the birds chirping and it feels like hearing Stunner for the first time. A squirrel runs up to you and you have a phone call with a close friend and it feels like hearing Stunner for the first time. That song was a life-changing moment. And I feel like I should have put it on my list, at least as an honorable mention, even though it deserved to be higher. I should have put the song on there, and I've been thinking about that for a while now, so I think I just wanted to get it off my chest. that was something that I just wanted to say. Now, I will think if I have any other topics to add to this podcast episode, and if I do, I will return. I'm back. So, something I've thought about recently was what kind of direction I want to take the channel in, what I want my next videos to be like. One video that I have been talking about doing for a while is everything wrong with insert company. So one that people requested was everything wrong with Hybe. Since they're so big, I don't know what I could say that is an issue I can attribute to Hybe versus something that I would attribute to the individual labels. So that's where I'm having the issue. Unless I talk about like a group under Hybe America, even then they're under Geffen as well. So so I just don't know how much oversight they have. I could just make a video and put every issue that I have with any group under Hybe or with anything like that. But I just wasn't sure how accurate I could be with me not knowing how much oversight Hybe has onto the individual groups. Then something I was thinking about doing a video on is pop culture journalism. So a lot of the time when K-pop idols are getting interviewed, they're getting interviewed by people who are not journalists. It would be someone like me. Someone like me doing an interview. And then that's why we have them getting asked the same questions every time. Or they never really comment on what people actually want to hear them comment on. Or they don't ask follow-up questions. I was thinking about doing a video about that. I think it's an interesting topic. I think, though, what more is there to say on that topic, though? Because we already know the label isn't going to let you ask certain questions. So I'm not sure what else I could ask or what else I could say there. Then I want to talk about maybe some things about K-pop that I enjoy, like a song I think was a great debut. Yeah, a song I think was a great debut, or something like that. Oh, another video I've teased, K-pop's body image issue. Again, I'm just trying to figure out what you can actually say on that. What can you say that hasn't been said? What could be something new? A video that I'm definitely going to do is the TikTokification of K-pop. How TikTok has had an influence on the genre. I think that's going to be my next video, actually, because without saying too much, I think TikTok has had an influence in a different way than most people would interpret. I think people typically think of it maybe making songs shorter or putting more influence on dance opposed to vocals. So we're going to get into that in the video. And now that you guys have a couple of the video topics I'm working on, that's it for today's video, for the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!